Hello for the last time, 102ers. Throughout this semester, if you have watched these videos regularly, you've seen the same format, right? You got me giving a pithy greeting over the Brightspace page. Then we follow that up with a funny GIF that may or may not be appropriate for what I'm saying due to the fact that my brain is kind of wired differently than most of you. Once you see that and I say something about this, I kind of move to the main Brightspace page again and continue through the introduction until we get down to the 102 masterclass schedule right down here under the view course schedule, and I ask you to click. But wait! There's a switch up this week, folks. You see, this is me. Hi. And as you can see, it's live. I'm doing things but anyway, this week's schedule is all about getting ready for your final paper and your final presentation. And since we're doing that final presentation, I kind of wanted to give you the understanding that we're going to do this in a little bit differently. Yes, there's still going to be things for you to look at. I think there's like 4 or 5 files for you to look at. But I don't really want to go through them in detail. I kind of want to show you in context. I want to show you the presentation. I want to show you the file that you're going to put together. And why am I putting myself on screen, on camera right now? Well, because I'm kind of hoping that you will do the same for your presentation. So you have that opportunity for your final presentation, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I do want to remind you, however, that the Unit 3 research paper and argument essay and the Unit 4 argument research presentation are both due on Saturday. Yes, Saturday, July 22nd, 2023 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern. I cannot and will not accept this late simply because the semester will literally end at that exact same time. Submissions will be locked out after that. Even if I wanted to take them, I couldn't, which I don't want to take them. But you need to get this in there. There's going to be no exceptions, no extensions, and no excuses. I am literally giving you until the very last second to submit this. So I would hate for anybody to fail the class simply because they procrastinated. Okay? End of discussion. So back to this cross-eyed fuzzy face. So why am I doing this? Like I said, I'm hoping you choose to do this as well, because honestly, your final presentation will be overlaid on top of a PowerPoint or a Prezi or something that you're going to have visuals on the screen, which I will show you in a few minutes. But I also hope, especially because this is an asynchronous class where you and I have rarely ever spoken, except via email, I hope to see what you look like. I hope to hear what you sound like. And you can actually have a little video up in the corner of your screen if you want. You can present like half and half, whatever it takes. As long as I can see the visuals and you, I'm a happy camper. Others may not want to do that. Bad hair day, makeup, you got a runaway zit, I don't know. You might choose to say, I'm just going to do a voiceover. And that's fine. At least I get to hear what you hear like, right? Hear what you sound like. There we go. So in any case, choose one of the two. You're going to have to do at least voice, but I hope that you do choose to do a little bit of video too, because it really makes me feel a little bit happier to know that you are living, breathing, functioning people instead of just AI chatbots. So what are you going to be presenting? Well, as you can see, in week 10, it will stretch from Monday, July 17th to Saturday, July 22nd. Semester ends on Saturday, July 22nd. It will be Saturday, July 22nd. I cannot say that enough. 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, July 22nd. I want you to look through these 6 files if you'd like, and then here are your 2 assignments for the week. But right now, since we've already talked about the research paper ad nauseum, I want to start talking about the oral or multimodal presentation. Now, it's a smart idea to look through the announcement that I sent this weekend and go back through the presentation page to see the requirements. So that presentation page was up here, remember? Argumentative Research Overview, that was week 9. So regardless, remember that you need to have your presentation be 5 to 8 minutes long. It must feature visuals of some sort, most likely PowerPoint or Google Slides or Canva or Prezi or some other equivalent software that you're using. It must hit on the 5 bulleted points brought up in the requirements. So if we go back to the requirements here and click on this, you can see your 5 bulleted points here under what to include. Okay, make sure that's there. And it must illustrate the scope of your research that you did for your paper. So, now that we've discussed that, let's go to the promised PowerPoint sample I talked about. Now, I'm about to go through this presentation twice, okay? Twice, and there's a reason for it. The first time, I'm just going to show you what it looks like as the presentation. The second time, I want to kind of pull the hood up on the car and show you how the engine runs. So I promise, the first spin up through will only be a couple of minutes, whereas the second time through we'll be talking about the specifics, okay? Here we go. So this is my presentation. Click here to be under arrest. Why we need an international cyber police force. That's my title, right? It's an eye-catching title. It's called Keywords Mystery Phrase, right? Keywords. Click here to be under arrest. Why do we need an international cyber police force? It kind of combines them. You put your name here. This is going to be your author's name. Now, if you're a geek like me, you know exactly who Kevin Mitnick is. If not, look him up. It's kind of an interesting story. And then underneath, basically, it's the same thing as the title of the title page of your paper. Who'd you write it for? What school did you write it for? What class did you write it for? And who was the teacher? Okay? And there you go. Once you're done, make sure that you have a wonderful background. Now, because I'm talking about a cyber police force, as you can see, I kind of picked a generic technological one. If you've ever seen a circuit board, this looks like a circuit board, okay? And then here what I've done is I've actually put images on here. That way, it'll catch your eye. You know, a guy in a dark hoodie with a map on his back, digitized, looking at this stuff. It kind of lets you think there's something bad going on. So what I've done is I've started to explain things. And as you can see, I've got bullet points, and I've also, on clicks, I have text that you can just pop up. And as you go through, everything is kind of easy to see. It's very clear. It's very understandable. It's kind of, eye-catching in certain things. I don't know why this is so small. It wasn't small earlier. But this should not be that small. Blow that up. And then as you go through, you can kind of see all the different things. Like, what did I want to discover? What I think. This is my thesis statement page, right? Here is the overall understanding of my argument. Now I start to cite things. And the citations will be author year, right? So author year. Author year. So as you can see, anything that I have in here is going to be author year if it's individualized like that. And then here, we've got another one, teach sort, okay? We've got images, and as you can see, the picture can come in a different way to kind of catch the reader's eye or the audience's eye. Here, I actually have a paragraph number because I counted that one. Whether you have it or you don't, that's fine. As long as you have the author and the year, I'm a happy camper. Adding anything else, I'm even more happy, okay? So here's our counter argument. Here's how the research recap. And if you're using Microsoft PowerPoint, you might actually have an addition of it that's going to help you format the page a little bit. It'll show you, I think the image might look better over here. That's really helpful as well. But you can see how all this stuff kind of pops up and how you can play around with the different images and the different transitions. It really does help. So overall, here we go. This is my final slide. And then I have to do the any questions slide. Always have an any questions slide. In case the readers do have questions, you don't look like you're trying to run away without answering them. You look like you're confident in your research. Finally, anything that I've used within the paper will appear on my references page, and I do not mean the paper. I'm sorry. Anything that I've used within the presentation comes in here. As you can see, I have 6 references. On my paper, I will have 7. So there's one reference I didn't use in here. So don't just copy and paste your references from your paper. If it's not used in the presentation, it shouldn't be there. And once you're done, that's it. So that was the presentation. But what I want to show you now is the idea that we have notes to look at. So I'm going to actually shrink that a little bit and bring up my notes slide so you can see it a little bit more clearly. If you do not see the notes, down here at the bottom, you can click on the button that says notes and it'll, make it appear or not. So if you don't see them as you have this open for yourself, please click the notes button and you'll be able to see what's going on. I basically walk you through it and tell you on the opening slide what should happen. And then in the presentation, this is where you're going to say, hi, my name is John and my topic is this, and so forth and so on. Then we get into here, establish the topic as a whole in the second slide, giving a snapshot of the overall topic. This is where you lay the groundwork to explain your decision. Now what you can do is, I'm going to open these up here. If you can see all this, you can see that there are different things that you can choose in the menus, okay? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me do this. Zzz. There we go. You can go through Home, Insert, Draw. So when I insert images, I always go to here, Pictures, and so forth. The designs, they're going to be the ones to show you what it's going to look like. You can even go and browse for themes on Microsoft.com if that's what you want to do, impress people. Transitions are how the slides will move from one to another, whereas animations are what's going to happen within here. If you turn on the animation pane, you can see how these move, right? Like, it's just the text that comes in at different places. I like to have all of the text come in the same way each slide. So the first bullet point appears, the second bullet point fades, the third bullet point flies in or floats in or something like that. That way I know each time what it's going to look like, okay? So this is the third slide. Fourth slide is where we start to establish your ethos. Why did you choose the topic? You know, how does it relate to your current major or your future employment plans? This is where you're going to fully tell your reader why you are qualified to speak on this topic. In the fifth slide, it's basically your 3 research questions. Why did you use them? What's going to happen? In the presentation, the student will use this portion to explain why he or she felt the need to direct the argument in the direction it went. Why did you choose this specific thesis statement? Okay. So here we're going to look at the understanding of your thesis statement itself. This is what it is. That's what I want you to focus on. Make sure it's right there, okay? It's clear. Down here is where we start to talk about our 3 research points. Okay, what did you find? And again, it's just the idea of all my text comes in differently. Sometimes there's something called on-click, where you are just kind of like clicking the button, clicking the mouse, and it'll pop up. Other times it's something called after. So let me see this. After previous, which means it'll just automatically come up. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to hide it or keep it going for everybody to look at, okay? This is where you're relying on the more interesting data of what you found. Down here, it's a continuation because we're still talking about the research recap. And now we get into the counter argument. Now we switch a little bit, right? We have the title up here to show us that we've switched. And you're still citing things. Rebuttal, exactly the same thing. So this is our development, right? So development starts here. 1 slide, 2 slides, 3 slides, 4 slides. So that's going to be our major development. And then we get into the interesting results of my research. Again, this is my most favorite part of the presentation. It shows me that while you probably approach this as, oh my God, I have to finish this for a grade, it's also, I kind of got something out of this as well, okay? So what were the most interesting results of my research? For anybody who knows me, you will know that this movie from, 96, 97, was one of my absolute favorite movies in college. That's Angelina Jolie, believe it or not. And if you ever saw Trainspotting, that's Johnny Lee Miller. Great movie, horribly outdated now, but I put that in there as kind of like my own little, that's what I found interesting. Our recap slide will tie everything together and give us a sense of closure, followed by any questions. Again, you ask an any question slide, you present an any question slide and ask if there are any questions to make sure that your reader or audience member knows that they can ask. So you might want to include an email here. You might want to say, just reach out to me, whatever it is. Nobody ever will. And then, of course, your references. Anything that appears there should appear here. Okay? So make sure you take a look at the slides. Make sure you take a look at the notes. And then go through it. Make sure if you have any questions, please stop me and ask. So taking a look back down here in Unit 4, Week 10, just make sure that you follow the presentation exactly. Make sure that you give me your ethos. Make sure your thesis statement's there. Make sure all of that's in there, okay? So I kind of wanted to run through these really, really quickly. Keeping your speech moving, transitions, and signposts is another way of talking about what we talked about last week with the Pennington Publishing blog. Its skeletal layout was good, but this is a little bit more warm and fuzzy, I guess. How do you move from one point to another? This transitions word chart is very helpful. Very helpful. You'll figure out different words that you can use in different areas. signposts to show you where we're going for the credibility, the second function, and so forth, okay? You may not be able to explain the reasons why you think one word is better than another, but as most of you are native English speakers, you'll know which words sound right and which ones do not. So put a little bit of thought into it, okay? The next one over is going to be citing sources in a speech, and it's the same as it always was. If it's not totally your idea, you must cite it now and forever. As you are presenting these supporting ideas in the speech, you can't necessarily spell out the in-text citation. So this is where the narrative citations come in. The page is not bad at showing you what could be in the spoken word as you present the material, but you have to take a look. So you can kind of see how these work if you really wanted to, but it's going to come very naturally to you, okay? Now, when I go through mine, I don't necessarily use anything citable until the 6th slide, but you saw that I've had the in-text citations right there, so if anyone questions where I got that information from, they can verify my information immediately. Now, once I start with that, I'm working with my argument and counter-argument, so the source material isn't really very necessary. So the images on each slide, I have them placed appropriately, and I don't want to overwhelm my audience with a barrage of pictures, and the animations I've chosen are quick and easy to display. So if we go back here, we can see that conclusions matter, and, well, here it is. It's not really helpful across the board. You can review this, but we talked about the conclusion as you were writing your actual paper. It's just a matter of restating your thesis statement, reviewing your main points or giving a summary of the paper, and a concluding device. Now, the concluding devices are pretty good. I personally hate concluding with a question. I'm not a huge fan of concluding with a quotation. I would much rather appeal to the reader. So what you're going to do there is you are going to give them something to know, to see, or to do, okay? So that's very helpful. Any of this sinking in yet? Does it make sense? If not, go back and review it. If that still doesn't make sense, email me as soon as possible so I can help. Again, you can review developing presentation skills. And that's just a bunch of videos that they kind of feel are going to be helpful for you. So, I mean, you can look at it. It's fine. Like, I hate TED Talks. I can't stand them. I don't like people talking at me. I like conversation. But anyway, the most important part about this is practice, okay? Just make sure that you go through that. Effective visual aids. There are a few really helpful links in here to show you how to set up your PowerPoint. And they're under, well, PowerPoint presentation skills. Yeah, that's a bit obvious and on the nose, isn't it? So you can use all of these to kind of help you figure out what's what. If you don't want to know, like if you don't understand how to create all these, it's helpful. I actually use, and it's not on here, I thought it was. You'll use something called Screencast-O-Matic. You can Google that up. I bought the yearly subscription, which means no watermark, and I can do videos over 15 minutes. You don't need that, though. You just need a 5 to 8 minute video, which will be perfect. You can also use PowerPoint's new recording technology, so you may not even need Screencast-O-Matic if it makes you feel better. So look through all these tutorials to help you, and please reach out if you need help. Finally, on the last page to review in the entire semester, using technology to present information, you are going to see the most helpful page of the entire semester. Shows you what to do with the Microsoft suite of programs and the Google suite of programs. It shows you the PowerPoint and the Google Slides presentation software right here if you want. It shows you where to find Creative Commons images and sound. Here's screencast stuff here. Still no link to Screencast-O-Matic. I am definitely going to have to fix that for next semester. But all of that, for anybody who considers themselves to be technologically lacking, this is the page to pay attention to, okay? Yes, we're almost done, okay? I feel like I'm talking to my son. And now, we have two final things to review, the Unit 3 paper and the Unit 4 presentation. Please remember that both the Unit 3 research paper argument essay and the Unit 4 research paper presentation are due on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern. There is no Sunday submission. There is no late work. There are no extensions, excuses, or exceptions. Okay? The semester ends on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. Period. Game over, man! Game over! So here are the final week's presentations. Ready? First, we have the Unit 3 Argumentative Research Paper Assignment. You know this. You've been using it. You've been working on it. If you don't want to use this paper here with all of this information and the format, then you can use this one that I gave you in the announcements for like the last 6 weeks. So it'll show you exactly what you're going to do. Plus, it shows you one hell of a good sample. Okay? Follow these samples and directions, please. You should have been working on this for over a month. So if you've put it off, well, the chicken's done come home to roost, Bobby Boucher. Regardless, the sample and directions are once again attached to the announcement in case you missed it the first half dozen times I posted it. Remember, this paper is worth a full quarter of your grade. It needs to be as perfect as you can make it, people. Then finally, you have your Unit 4 oral multimodal presentation, which is that. You know, if you don't want to go back to the previous documents, the 5 major bullet points are, right here. There we go. Be sure to include all of the information. If I were you, I'd review the rubric down here as well. It's up top. There it is. Review the rubric as well. Give yourself an idea of how you'll be graded and such. It's a very smart plan. So that's it, my friends. It was a long semester, and you've made it to the end. For probably all of you, this is the last English class you have to take. For the few of you who are looking at English 122 or English 124 to take next, well, I don't teach them. So you're in luck. Thanks again for all the time you spent this semester trying your best. Those of you who put in a lot of effort into your submissions, well, it made my life easier. Better papers are easier to grade after all. Have a great summer. Good luck in your future courses. And I can't wait to see each and every one of you walk across the stage at graduation. For the last time, see ya.